Welcome to the Bad X Release Show on Covers. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Derek Carty. This is the day after a 4-0 start to May. How does that one feel, Derek? I mean, when we look at your plays, they're consistent. We always know that strikeout heavy, feeling the unders early. We were in the red in April. Coming out of May like that, to see that with the same system, with the same plays, and then finally get the variance on your side, how does that feel?
Feels great. I mean, April was rough. We had a lot of plays that just we should have hit and didn't. We had a few injuries. We had the bad luck in Mexico City. We had the Lorenzen thing where he wasn't even stretched out, and somehow he threw 105 pitches or something while giving up 5 runs and got his over anyway because he didn't get pulled for pitching so bad. And we just ran so bad. So it's nice to finally get on the good side of variance, which over time is going to happen. It's just, it's nice when it finally starts to go our way.
Yeah, it sure is nice coming back after a 4-0 day. But like people are saying in the chat, hello to everybody in the chat. Thanks for everything. Markets are moving again, and I do like this 9:15 time slot, and I do think we're getting ahead of the market slightly at this time. So let's get right to the release procedure so we can get everything out the door here. We'll tell you what books we're betting on, give you some time, log into those accounts. Then we'll tell you the game we're betting on. Again, giving you some time finding the game. We'll tell you the market we're betting at, and then the player and the over-under, making sure, giving you enough time to get the play because markets are constantly moving. And that's why we're at 9:15. So let's get right to it. We had 3. Derek added a 4th because the board looks good today. So let's get right to it. Saying that, Derek, are you ready to go?
Let's do it.
All right. Release number 1. We are at Bet365. If you have a BetRivers account, the best price is at BetRivers by 8 points. So Bet365 for the release for the screen. For convenience sake, if you have a BetRivers account, is it still there? Did you see it?
Yeah, our producer said he's got the BetRivers working, so I don't know which bet is first. Well, don't tell me, I guess, but
no. Well, we'll release it on this. But if you have a BetRivers account, that's probably you're probably getting a better price over there. Caesars also has a decent secondary price. The game in question: Cleveland at New York, the Guardians, Yankees. Take your time, find that game. The market we're betting is pitcher outs. Pitcher outs. For release number 1, Wednesday, May 3rd. Shane Bieber over 18.5 outs plus 120. Shane Bieber over 18.5 outs plus 120. Let us know if you got it. Let us know if you got that BetRivers number. I believe it was 128, if I'm correct there, Derek. Seeing the market at maybe even money pretty much everywhere else. Bieber, all of a sudden, he's the number 12 betting favorite. How high were you on Bieber, Cy Young early in the season? Was he projecting to have a great year?
I mean, not necessarily Cy Young caliber, but he's a quality pitcher, and he always has been. And so, I like him in this spot for sure. It's the Yankees, which I think is probably why we're seeing the odds a little bit the way they are. But the Yankees lineup these days is not very good. Judge is on the IL. They've got, you look at what their lineup is supposed to look like today. It's the same quality as Kansas City or Pittsburgh. And if Bieber was facing Kansas City or Pittsburgh here, I don't think we'd be seeing these same odds on him. I think this is Yankees name value. And so I like what we're looking at here. That is projecting 19 outs. So bit of a coin flip, but we're getting it at good odds. And this is a good spot for him. It's a park upgrade. It's pretty good weather. It's a weak offense, and he's looked good. And he's a guy that when he's pitching well, they're not afraid to give a long leash.
We'll take some perspective from LD Yanks, who always is active in the chat. I'm sure he is a Yankees fan. On a scale of 1 to 10, if you're a Yankees fan, how confident are you in this lineup? Because I'm sure the New York media is probably just eviscerating what this is. 24th in WOBA, 22nd in weighted runs created plus. It's not the prettiest thing, especially deep in that lineup. So Do like this 18.5. Do like it at plus money, and it's certainly moving that way. So Shane Bieber over 18.5 outs versus the Yankees today. Release number 2. We are over at FanDuel. Some good secondary books include Bet365 and Pinnacle. The game in question, Milwaukee at Colorado, the Brewers at the Rockies. The prop market we're looking at is pitcher strikeouts. For release number 2, we are on Colorado starting pitcher Kyle Freeland under 4.5 Ks, minus 112. Kyle Freeland under 4.5 Ks, minus 112. There we go from producer Mick. Thank you, sir. 14 earned runs over his last 3 starts, Derek. Doesn't get any help today, obviously, at Coors. Has hit the 90 pitch mark in, I believe, one of his 6 starts. Milwaukee, as we talked about, high K percentage team, but that's certainly priced in. But maybe the environment is pricing it in a better light. So Kyle Freeland under 4.5 Ks. What are the projections here for the Colorado pitcher, Derek?
Projection is 3.2. So we're getting, a strikeout and a quarter under this line. We're getting it at close enough to even money. It really, at any number at 4.5, you're probably looking good here. A lot of the markets like minus 135, minus 140, and I think it's just going to keep dropping all day. I wouldn't be surprised if this closes at 3.5. But any number you can find this at right now is going to be a really, really strong bet, because he's not a high strikeout pitcher to begin with. Like, he's a very, very low strikeout pitcher. And Coors Field suppresses strikeouts. It's 75 degrees there. It's the best hitting weather of the slate. And yeah, the Brewers are a strikeout heavy offense for sure. But that's really the only, check in that column. He throws to a bad pitch framing catcher. There's a hitter's umpire in this game. He's a lefty who's going to be facing like probably 8 right-handers. And it's not a good spot for Freeland.
Yeah, hit the Colorado angle last night. Back on it today with Freeland under 4.5 Ks. Let us know if you're seeing that number move. Thanks to everybody in the chat for pumping it up. Release number 3. We are back at 365. Some secondary books include Betway and Botano. The game in question, Seattle at Oakland. The Mariners and the Athletics. Off the top of your head, Derek, who is a worse offense, Detroit or Oakland?
I think it's Oakland.
Okay. The prop market we're looking at is pitcher strikeouts. For release number 3, we are on Seattle's starting pitcher, Logan Gilbert, over 5.5 Ks, minus 125. Logan Gilbert over 5.5 Ks, minus 125. I absolutely love this play. The market is this number will be long gone in 20 minutes. This is just too short of a number, especially when you correlate it to his outs, which is 17.5, minus 165 to the over. This is a guy who is an average K per inning guy, now faces a weaker Oakland offense. Those numbers should go up. He's hit this number over in all 5 of his starts this year. 30% K percentage, but even that's high. But even at like 22 to 25, as you have him projected in FanGraphs, this is still an easy hit here at, I'm sure, projected around 18.5 outs.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. He's been phenomenal this year. His ERA doesn't look great, but all of his peripherals have been fantastic. His strikeout rate's 11 per 9. He's a guy who, even though he can get strikeouts, he doesn't walk a lot of guys, so he can be efficient. He can go deep. He's facing this terrible Oakland offense in one of the best pitchers' parks in all of baseball. And this is also, even though Oakland is like the worst offense in baseball, they're also the most strikeout heavy offense on this slate. And so I love this play at this number. There's already one book I've seen at 6.5. The 5.5 books, most of them are like -150, -160, -170. So getting in here at -125, the line is just way off.
Yeah. The K per inning pitcher, the 17.5 outs is -165 to the over. He's going 6 innings. He's going to get a strikeout per inning. This number's long gone, likely by the time we end this show. Last release. This was a 2-minute before the show started. Derek's like, we're adding one more, and we say yes, sir. For release number 4, we are at Bet365. Some secondary books, I believe, are Caesars, The Score, Botano. And we are going back to Coors Field, Milwaukee at Colorado, the Brewers at the Rockies. Prop market we're looking at is pitcher strikeouts. Pitcher strikeouts for our 4th and final release of the day. The number is still there. We are on Eric Lauer, under 4.5 Ks, -165. Lauer, under 4.5 Ks, -165. It's a bit of juice, Derek, but what are the projections saying? And is it worth laying the number here?
It is. The projection's 3.1. So we're almost a strikeout and a half under this. There's one book that's already at 3.5. So I wouldn't be surprised. The market's been moving down all day. I've seen some books at 4.5, -185, -190. Like you're gonna. This is another one. It's very similar to Freeland, where I wouldn't be surprised if everywhere closes at 3.5. It's going to keep moving this way because it's Coors Field. It's, again, a hitter's umpire. It's the best hitting weather of the day. He's another lefty who's going to be facing probably 7 or 8 right-handers in the the opposing lineup. And he's not a big strikeout guy to begin with. And Colorado, unlike Milwaukee, is like an average strikeout offense. So this is a good spot for him. It's basically the same play as Freeland. The line is just mispriced pretty much everywhere, I think.
Coming off an 85 pitch start versus Detroit, averaging 91 pitches over his 5 starts this year. Back on the Coors angle, doubling up on that with Lauer under 4.5 Ks. Those are our 4 releases today. Let's recap what we've gone through. Bieber over 18.5 outs plus 120 versus a very underwhelmed New York offense. Kyle Freeland under 4.5 Ks in the Colorado angle. Then we hit Logan Gilbert over 5.5 Ks. This is I'm surprised that Bet365 is still posting that number when the markets move the other way. That one is, I think, when we look at closing line value at the end of today, Derek, I think that one will probably have the biggest closing line value. And then Eric Lauer under 4.5 Ks. Agree on the Gilbert one or no?
Oh, completely.
Think that,
yeah. No, that's going to be long gone.
Yeah, that's might hit the 4.5 or the 6.5 mark. Yeah, those are the 4 plays today. Coming off 4-0 yesterday. Stay tuned to the Covers Twitter page. I'm traveling, not sure how the Friday goes. It could be a social release, it could be something, but we'll get something out to you for sure on Friday. That will do it for us here Wednesday. I'm Josh Ingles. He's Derek Carty. This is the Bat X Release Show on Covers. Do us a favor, give us a like and subscribe, helps us out down there, and we'll see you back here hopefully on Friday.